Hello folks, Fuzz here, and a massive welcome back to Final Fantasy IX. We are getting so close to the end of this series, I can almost smell it. I will be sad when this is over. It's been quite a substantial part of my gaming time over the past couple of months. So I really hope you've enjoyed all these episodes. Thank you so much to everybody who's been sticking around with me throughout this period. And just a reminder, if everything has been helpful to you, just hit that like button. It really does show me your support and I appreciate it. But we're not at the end yet. We've still got some big battles ahead, and today we're going to engage in some of those, which means we need to begin by heading into this strange area known as To the Origin. There are some random encounters in this little region, although it looks like we are not going to be able to avoid them. And just as we approach the light here, we start a cutscene. Okay, and we are now about to enter the final dungeon. This area is known as the Crystal World. And it is the last area of the game. So we have made it, guys, although it's not going to be a cakewalk, as you've probably guessed. And we are going to have to do a little bit of backtracking still in order to complete the optional content that this game has available. But for all intents and purposes, we are at the end now, so it's been a fun journey getting here. This area itself does have random encounters. A word of warning about them: they are the trash here, the random encounters you're going to engage in. The bosses we've just been fighting in the previous area. Fortunately, although they have the same status, vulnerabilities and attacks, actually it's the same attacks, they're more vulnerable to statuses now. They also have less hit points, so they should go down quicker. They don't give any experience, but this is a great farming area for ability points because each battle gives you 7 AP. So bear that in mind if you want to do some endgame farming to learn some abilities, especially on characters you've neglected. This is probably the best place to do so. So it's crystal forms of the enemies we've just been fighting. There we go. And it is a linear path now that we just need to follow. And here we have a save point, and I believe this is the final save point of the game. So once we've finished with the next section, we need to just backtrack a little bit to this save point so that we can save our game. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save now. Make sure you... Actually, before I do that, I'll just explain the fact that we do have a boss battle that we are about to encounter as we head through this portal. So we need to prepare for that, really. I recommend that you take a magical oriented party because the boss itself can be set to sleep, and as long as you only cast magic on it, you can keep it asleep, and that trivialises what would otherwise be a substantially difficult encounter. Hopefully, you do not have party members with levels of multiples of 5, which I did warn you against before the previous boss battle, and there hasn't really been much chance to gain experience since then, so that should still be the case. The next boss also casts an AoE level 5 death, which instantly knocks out any characters with levels of multiple of 5. So if you have got those, just switch them out for another character, or do a little bit of leveling to get them above that level. Right, this boss doesn't really have any status attacks that can be defended against, so don't bother putting any of your ability points in defensive statuses. But what you might want to do is equip Insomniac if you're using Queen, as I am, since the night ability is a good way of getting this guy to go to sleep, and then Zidane can concentrate on stealing. Also, I'm probably going to switch Freya out for Vivi, since, you know, Vivi is magical oriented and he can spam Blizzardgar, and that will basically keep the boss asleep while we are doing damage to it. Quina can use Frog Drop, although that will wake the boss up, so you might want to use another ability. Twister works good if you have it with Quina. And if you want to use Aiko, who is actually a stronger character than Dagger for this fight, because Holy is an awesome ability. Although my Aiko is a little bit underleveled, so I'm just going to take Dagger and have her concentrate on healing. One other thing as well, make sure you equip Zidane with Devil Killer, just in case you do go for any physical attacks. But other than that, there's nothing else that we need. No, one of the other reasons I've taken Queen is because Frog Drop is useful if the boss is awake at any point, just for that maximum damage, well, almost maximum damage. And Vivi, of course, as I said, can keep the boss asleep with its spells. I've also, on my magical characters, gone ahead and equipped half MP, MP plus whatever percentage, and make sure all your characters have Insomniac auto regen, auto haste as usual, and if possible auto life. But you probably won't have enough stones for all of that, so you're just going to have to pick and choose what you want. And here is Kuja. Okay, one thing to note about this boss is that it does open with a devastating meteor ability, so straight away we are at the disadvantage. And say hello to the one and only Deathguise. The one thing we definitely want to steal from this fella is the dual claws. So we're going to open straight away with Night here and try and get this thing to sleep as soon as possible. With Insomniac, it won't put our party to sleep. And we'll start stealing. Blizzardgar is decent because it uses the smaller amount of mana, or MP if you like. Should have done a Twister on that guy then, but I wasn't trying to do damage. But because the spells do a little bit less damage than normal, it's something we need to bear in mind. So sleep doesn't keep the boss asleep for long, of course, so we do have to keep reapplying it. But once Zidane has stolen, he will switch to to sleeping with his Soul Blade, while Queen starts attacking with Twister. At least that is the plan. So this guy has 55,535 health points. You can also slow it, by the way, with Vivi. But if you keep it asleep, then that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And since I'm currently just spamming the sleep and Blizzard Guard abilities, it's important to maximise our MP usage. Which is why I've equipped half MP on our magic casters. It might be a good idea, as I said, to have Aiko with you because she can spam Holy. Dagger can use Bahamut, but it's got such a long cast time that I just can't be bothered with it. Queen are doing a good job at keeping that sleep up. And I'm just going to be a little bit careful now with my Blizzard Guards, because about 10 to 12 Blizzard Guards will be enough to kill this guy. So I do want to steal the item before we go ahead and kill this fella. What we'll do is just get Vivi here to cast slow, since he's not doing damage at the moment. Put him to good use still. If you don't use this tactic, this guy has a whole plethora of nasty abilities that are going to do a ton of damage to your group, so just bear that in mind. And that missed, so we'll try that again. And there we have the dual claws now, which means we're going to put Queen onto Twister duty, and Zidane is going to go on Soul Blade duty, and Vivi back on Blizzard Guard duty. Soul Blade doesn't tend to keep the boss asleep for as long, but it should do the job fine as long as we keep casting it. A few more of these and we should be sorted, I reckon. But trust me, this is one boss you do want to keep under the spell. Got a nice little system going now, haven't we? I don't think this guy's actually managed to get one attack in, which is quite humorous. But there we have it. That is how you defeat Deathguise. A tough boss made simple. Now, before you do anything, you need to head back, because if you approach Kujar, then you kick off the final events and the final boss fights of the game. And we're not prepared to do that just yet, so we're going to leave that area, save the game, and start doing some preparation as we finish off the optional content before making our way to Kuja. You can actually use this save point to teleport back out of the dungeon, although just bear in mind that when you do that you are going to have to run all the way back, even through the previous areas, to get to this point, but sadly that is just the thing we're going to have to do. Anyway guys, I know this hasn't been a long one, but I want to finish off here because I want to try and keep the final optional content separate to this story episode. So we'll kick that off next time, and then we'll go and encounter Kuja and see what his problem is with us. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment, let me know how you're getting on with your own playthrough, and I'll see you soon as we carry on racing towards the end of Final Fantasy IX.